What is going on, WWE fans? It is WWE at Home 219 here. Just got done watching the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view this Sunday, February 17, 2013. I'm here to give you the results and my review over the Elimination Chamber. So the first match we saw in the pre-show on YouTube.com was Brodus Clay and Tensai, Team What the Funk, taking on Team Rhodes Scholar. It's basically a squash match for Brodus and Tensai to get over as a tag team. Brodus and Tensai do this move together, and they pin Damian Sandow, pick up the victory in a matchup that was like 8 minutes. I'll give it a D, just because I don't really get the Brodus and Tensai thing going on. But it, like I said, basically a squash match. So then let's get into the pay-per-view itself. The first matchup would be the World Heavyweight Championship, Alberto Del Rio versus The Big Show. Now, this probably seems to be the end of this feud, since there's somebody that came out of the Chamber match itself. Del Rio picks up the victory over The Big Show. Average matchup. It was very slow-paced. There was no cash-in either, as I projected, so that's 2 projections on cash-ins that I was wrong about. Like I said, the matchup, it did what it had to do, as Alberto Del Rio would retain. I'll give that matchup a C-. It was average. So then for the United States Championship, it was Antonio Cesaro versus The Miz. Antonio Cesaro would pick up the victory, as The Miz would be disqualified for kicking Antonio Cesaro in the nuts. It was actually a pretty good matchup for The Miz, being supposedly banged up from what Cesaro did to him on Monday Night Raw. So far into this pay-per-view is the best matchup that I'll give a C+. And it looks like they're trying to force this matchup to happen at WrestleMania 29, as The Miz lost via disqualification. So he probably is going to get another shot at WrestleMania and probably take the United States Championship away from Antonio Cesaro. So Antonio Cesaro will retain here at Elimination Chamber. Then it was the Chamber matchup itself, as we would see Mark Henry, Jack Swagger, Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, Kane, and Daniel Bryan faced off for the #1 contendership of the World Heavyweight Championship matchup. Mark Henry was basically dominating throughout this whole matchup, but it didn't prove to be enough, as Jericho and Randy Orton would help to get Mark Henry out of the ring. But in a surprise victory, Jack Swagger would pick up the win and defeat Randy Orton, as he would get a roll-up cover, as Randy would get the RKO and pin Chris Jericho, but Randy was not paying attention, and Jack Swagger would end up stealing the victory and main eventing WrestleMania in the World Heavyweight Championship. Oh God, that was pretty bad. I don't know why Jack Swagger gets this new song. He just comes back a couple weeks ago, and he's already getting put in a World Championship matchup at WrestleMania. Not a Jack Swagger fan. Very dull. He's not good at the mic. And for an awesome matchup, the Chamber matchup, not taking away from the Chamber, a lot of cool things were happening in this matchup. The matchup itself, I will give an A-. I just dislike the fact that Jack Swagger won. So Jack Swagger wins and is going to face Alberto Del Rio, or a lingering cash-in still with Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania 29. So then we would see a thrown-in matchup with Dolph Ziggler himself, as he would say, "Oh, why am I not in the card?" He would end up facing Kofi Kingston and putting away Kofi in a quick matchup. Dolph Ziggler looks strong. Kofi Kingston not too shabby himself. I'll give the matchup a B-. It was pretty solid for the short match, even though it was. So Dolph Ziggler continues the momentum, and he still has the briefcase as he defeats Kofi Kingston at the Elimination Chamber. So then the next thing we're going to get into is the Shield taking on John Cena, Ryback, and Sheamus. This matchup had its cool spots and it had its dull moments. There wasn't anything superb besides the fact that Roman Reigns speared Sheamus through the barricade. That was pretty cool. But the ending of this matchup was pretty unpredictable and very creative. Seth Rollins was on top of Ryback, about to get shell-shocked, but Roman Reigns would come out of nowhere, spear Ryback. Seth Rollins would fall right on top of Ryback, pick up the 1, 2, 3, as the Shield defeats John Cena, Sheamus, and Ryback in a pretty solid matchup that I'll give a B. And as the Shield is now gaining some more momentum, as they are 2-0 in matchups in pay-per-views. So then we would see the Divas Championship, Caitlyn taking on Tamina Snuka. I honestly feel like Caitlyn's getting better in the ring. She's showing up some better moves. But for the Divas matchups, they're not really that great, as Caitlyn would pick up the win with the spear on Tamina, a matchup that I'll give a D+. So then finally, the main event of the Elimination Chamber, the WWE Championship, the WWE Champion taking on CM Punk. Very creative way to go about this matchup. We had to go through a couple referees, as one referee turned his ankle. One referee was knocked off the ring by The Rock, as The Rock was really pinned in the ring by more than a 3 count, and that there was no ref to count CM Punk as the champion. But The Rock would pick up the win in this matchup, as the ref would be able to get to the ring in time to count the 1, 2, 3, as The Rock defends his title against CM Punk in a pretty solid matchup that was a little better than the Royal Rumble matchup, in my opinion. I will give a B. This pay-per-view in general, it was average, and it did what it had to do to set up for WrestleMania 29. This pay-per-view itself, I will give a C+. The Rock will face John Cena at WrestleMania, and as of now, Alberto Del Rio will face Jack Swagger. And in my opinion, it looks like Antonio Cesaro is probably going to face The Miz. And the Intercontinental and the tag team matchups though are still up for grabs, and who knows, but the Shield is going to be set up for at WrestleMania. But there's going to be some videos coming out, a lot of Raw reviews these next 6 weeks as we're leading up to WrestleMania. Hopefully we'll start to see some matches being formed for the biggest pay-per-view of the year, the Super Bowl of the WWE, WrestleMania. Like I said, Elimination Chamber, C+. Tell me what you guys thought of the Elimination Chamber down below. Like and subscribe to my channel. I will have my Raw review up tomorrow night, so stay tuned for that. Follow me on Twitter at Let's Talk _WWE. And take it easy.